All right. All right, everybody. We are here for the third online meeting that we've had. And tonight we have Cameron from Frying Pan Angler going to talk about fishing in Colorado and Arkansas. Um, the board had started talking about doing live events. We're looking at maybe starting a live meeting in July. We'll have more detailed once we finalize that. But our only live confirmed event is the fall outing at I can't remember the name of the place now. Rock and R Ranch on the September 15th, 16th, and 17th, I believe it is, that weekend. Abby, you have an event coming on Thursday, right? That you wanted to talk about?
Abby's mic is off.
Right. There we go.
Hi, Abby.
Hi guys. Thursday, Julie Watson, our staff conservation educator, will be talking about fish food. So we'll go over what trout like to eat. Thinking that might be an awesome talk, especially for fly anglers, to kind of go over like matching that. So we'll be able to tell you guys what fish are eating in certain waters and give you more of an idea of what species we will have or what the fish will eat in certain waters. So I thought that might be a good one. And that'll start at 5 o'clock on Thursday, and registration is on Facebook.
Uh-oh, lost everything. What happened?
I can hear someone.
Yeah, we hear you, Cameron.
All right, cool.
It sounds awfully quiet.
I think Stuart's whispering.
Oh, Stuart.
I had my microphone. I don't think I have anything else. Cameron, if you want to go ahead and get started with your presentation, and we'll get you some questions at the end.
Awesome. Okay, thanks, guys. So I want to thank Tom. Become friends with Tom over, the last 4 years, Tom?
Couple of years, something like that. 2-3 years, something. I don't know.
2-3 years. I'm getting older. We got to exaggerate it a little. But anyways, I've spoken at your club for some of you guys. I've been there twice. Wish I was there with my family having fun and doing what we do in Las Vegas. But so I appreciate letting me talking about this. When Tom came to me and asked me if I had anything else to talk about, we've obviously talked about Frying Pan, Roaring Fork, and the Colorado River 2 times. So I told him I had some other stuff that I do kind of in the winter time. So that's how this Arkansas presentation I'm going to do today, what we're going to talk about. But at the end of the presentation, we can talk about Colorado a little. Maybe some of you have some questions how we're dealing with COVID, and guiding and all that fun stuff. And like we were talking earlier, we have a few of you guys coming out and staying at our lodge on the Frying Pan. We can talk about here in a couple weeks, though. We can talk about that also. So what got me interested in the White River, guys, about 10 years ago, probably about 12 years ago, we started going out there, me and a buddy, in the winter. Is anybody familiar with the White River in Arkansas?
No.
Anybody want to chime in if they've been there? I'm sure they've heard of it. So for those of you that, just let me explain where it's at. It's in the northeast corner of Arkansas. It's a tailwater. It's an actual tailwater that goes about 168 miles of tailwater trout stream. That's a lot of trout river, and it stays 52 degrees year round. The river I guide on pretty much, all fall, summer, and spring. Frying Pan River stays about 42 degrees. So the interesting thing, guys, with this trout fishery over the years, it's really developed into one of the better fisheries in the country, especially for big brown trout. Why the title is Trophy Brown Trout. One of the reasons, the dynamic and why the fish get so big, which can seem kind of weird, but they stock almost, as you can see right here, nearly over 1 million rainbows each year, and those fish range from 6 to 8 inches. So what happens, if you think about it, that's brown trout food every year. That's why they beat themselves almost every year with the world record. So I'm going to kind of tell you throughout my presentation the best time to fish it. One of the reasons I can go out there February, March, April and catch some of these big fish is just the dynamic that works with this tailwater. Some of the best big brown trout fishing in there is going to be middle of winter. One is because of the shad kill. You can see here the shad start dying off in the lake, middle of winter, and they come through the turbines. So that's putting a lot of, big bait into the river, which I'm going to talk about later. But the biggest reason these fish get so big is just because all the food that being stocked, and they don't stock a lot of brown trout. A lot of these brown trout get naturally, and even the 30 inchers we catch in, they were put, if they were stocked, they were put in there as fingerlings. So I'm going to kind of show you where we're located. Can you guys see that? Yeah. So if you see right up here, Mountain Home is kind of where we stay, between Mountain Home and Cotter. Like I said, it's only 2 hours or so from Missouri. So it's a little bit of a drive for you guys. You probably want to fly coming all the way from Las Vegas. It's about a 12, 13-hour ride from me. But as you can see, all this water up here above Mountain Home, that's the White River drainage. That's actually table rock that starts in Missouri, comes all the way down Arkansas. That's why there's so much water and so much cold water that's coming year round out of that tailwater in, forming the White River. So this kind of showing you where we're at. Now, one of the reasons the fish get so big, like I said earlier, is because of all the stock rainbow that they're putting in there. When I bring my clients out here, from February, March, and April, a lot of time, we're getting a lot of group trips. One is we got to lodge them. I'm going to show you in a little bit that we can set it up for 6 to 12 people. And two, being guiding in Colorado for so long, and you kind of know my clientele that really wants to chase trophy fish. The unique thing about this fishery, it's down south, so it doesn't get extremely cold. It's beautiful because you can go down there starting in end of January is about when I'll head down there, when my wife will let me leave for a few months now. So you're still dealing with 45 to 60 degree temperatures, which is kind of nice. And throwing in some big brown trout, as a lot of you guys go to Argentina in the winter because the seasons are opposites, and it's a great place, but this is a little cheaper, and it's a half a day plane ride to Arkansas. So just showing you the dynamics. And sorry, I'm so used to seeing your faces when I come over there and talk. So as you can see here's some of the streamers we're using, guys. Right in here, double deceivers, a lot of big deer hair on sinking lines, replicating that 6 to 8 inch rainbow. That's why these fish get so big, as you can see here. Now, I'm not sure everybody wants to throw streamers for 3 days, but our packages are kind of set up for 4 nights and 3 days of fishing. Now, if you dedicate 3 days of solid streamer fishing on this river, you're going to come away with a 25 to 28 inch fish. I mean, at least, let's say we went out next week there in February and you fish 3 days with me with 12 people. 10 of you are going to get a 25 inch fish if you work at it. Now, you're not going to get that fish every day. So the point I'm making is if you put your hard work in, and the hard work pays off. These are all fish. If you look off of the website that I'm teaming up with this guy. So I teamed up with another coworker of mine that actually lives in Michigan. Is a full-time guide in Michigan. Fall, summer, and a little bit of winter when the steelhead are running. And then we both teamed up. This guy said, "Hey man, I teamed up with another start focusing in on that actually lives in Michigan. When we're all slow in Michigan, how cold it gets in Michigan, and Colorado is great winter fishing on the little tailwaters, but nothing like this with these big browns. So hey man, that's kind of how this came along. Now I'll give you the contacts later at the end of this, but we teamed up and said, hey, let's try to make this work, and it's done pretty well. Where we're getting 8 to 12 different groups for 3 months and a couple singles in there in between. But all these fish were caught, last winter, starting in January all the way until the end of March. He can go out a couple weeks earlier because he doesn't have a wife and a kid, so he gets to go out there a little earlier. So if y'all wanted to go out first part of January, we could set that up. But if you really want a big brown and don't mind working hard a little bit with 250 to 300 sinking grain lines, you will move some big fish. Now, as you can see here, this was the world record brown trout caught February 2015. That record's been beaten a couple times. A Michigan fish beat it, and someone in I think Iceland beat it on one of those lakes. This was the world record. I laugh, guys. I mean, if you just Google big fish on the White River, it's not just a Michigan one fish that we're talking about. I mean, this happens every year. I mean, you can see here, 2012. 32-pound fish. Guys, and as you can see in this picture, most of these big fish guys are coming in the middle of winter. Because of the shad kill and other reasons that I'm going to talk about here. You can see here, 2012. I crack up. If you've ever been to Arkansas, it's a pretty beautiful state, guys. But they love, only thing they have down there is because of the shad kill and other reasons. That's their life. So when you catch a big fish, you're going to make the evening news, as you can see down there. It says 5 evening news right there. So it's not uncommon to see fish this big come out of this tailwater. So but that's kind of the dynamics of why some of these fish get so big. And the biggest reason here, guys, can y'all see that? So one big tailwater, uncommon to see fish this stays at temperature, but the bigger flows that's kind of are going to happen in the winter, right? One, because that big reservoir. The biggest reason here, guys, can y'all see that? Giving when it's cold in the winter. Well, obviously millions of people. And that reservoir is generating to millions of people. Are going to happen in the winter. Okay, it's that big. So when you guys, when people in Missouri, it's giving northern Arkansas, cold in the winter, all the way to northern Missouri, St. Louis, when they're using their heaters, they got to pump water out here. That's why you're going to see some of these bigger flows. As you can see here, the minimum flow for this big river is 700 CFS. All the way to I've been out there a year, St. Louis, a drought year when it was warmer, and that was the minimum CFS. Last few years, we've had some pretty big winters here in Colorado. The minimum flow, especially in northern Arkansas, southern Missouri. I've been out there, so they have to put those flows drought year when it was warmer. Okay, so the bigger the flow, the easier it is, to catch those big old browns in the middle of the day. Especially that they feel safer, and and that shad kill comes through. So that's the dynamics of why the winter fishing. This is a great fishery year round. To catch just because I go there in the winter doesn't mean that's the only time you can catch big fish. But the most consistent time to catch big fish is when we're getting those bigger flows in the middle of winter. And that's why when you look down and through these pictures, even if you Google the big fish on your own on the White River, you would see time to catch the continuous months are going to be January, February, March, and maybe the first part. That's why when you look down and through these pictures, or even if you Google. So when we do get big fish on your own on the White River, you would see minimum flow. When we do get minimum flow, it stays. So a few years ago, we kind of had the drought everywhere in the United States. The minimum flows were staying when I was out there for 3 months. That's 700 CFS. So what do? You can catch fish on this river. If you want a nymph, which I'm going to hit on later, you can catch one little rainbow after the other. When I was out there most of the time when we're getting you guys to come out there, 700 CFS. We're bragging about these big browns. So I don't know how many of you have mouse fished or fished at night. This is a great river to do it on. It's not a little choked up stream where I grew up in Michigan, where they're pretty big in the United States. This is a big river where we're standing. You can see here. You can see we're in a boat right there. This is a great river to do it on. One of my best clients that fishes with me in Colorado and joins me in Arkansas for at least 6 days. So you can see we're in a big boat. A lot of us put motors on our drift boats, and some of us even use jet boats. But the neat thing about mouse fishing on this river in the evening, there's no trees. It's a big river. You don't have to worry about it. You can see we're in a big boat. As long as your guide knows where he's going, you'll be okay. But if you haven't fished at night, it can be a lot of fun. And you guys have heard the stories about all the big browns that
it's a big river.
eat at night. I mean, especially in low flows.
As long as your guy knows.
I'm not saying you can't get some of these big fish, but in the middle of the day, in low flows, and you can. I'm sorry, guys. One second.
About all the big browns.
There, let's go back here. I'm going to hit on that some more.
Especially in
So you can still do it. I mean, a lot of times when we get the lower flows,
in the middle of the day,
last year when the first part of the season, they weren't letting much water out. It wasn't exactly minimum flows there that first week of February.
You can still do
it. Was around
a lot of times
6,000,
when we get the lower
which
flows,
is a decent flow. But what we would do is start, start our trip maybe at 2, fish to dark, go in, make you guys dinner, then go back out and fish till 1 or 2 in the morning. And we would have great luck, as you can see right here. I mean, this fish was with Kelly in the early part of January 25th. So there, you can always come out here even in low flows any time of year, particularly in the winter, and still catch these gorgeous fish.
Here,
so
I mean, this fish
that's when that's why we kind of hit on this time period, guys. So there's another tailwater. Anybody who wants to say they fish any of these is more than fine, called the North Fork River. This is another tailwater that comes in 44 miles below. So there's another tailwater, White River. Anybody and this is a phenomenal tailwater. It's only 4 miles long. Called the North Fork. The neat thing about this river, besides, as you can see here, 3 brown trout over 30 pounds have been caught on the North Fork. The neat thing with this river, guys, in Arkansas Game and Fish, it has done a great job with this fishery. I mean, one, they have stocked, as you can see, the cutthroat right here. I mean, they've stocked cutthroat. They've stocked brook trout. So you can, and now they're, some of these fish, I wouldn't say they're totally reproducing, but they're putting these brook trout and cutthroat in stocked as fingerlings. None of these fish were stocked. They've stocked cutthroat. The neat thing on the North Fork, you can get now they're, some of these, you can come down in one day,
they're totally reproducing, but they're putting
here and get that brown trout, that cutthroat, the big rainbow. None of these fish now, I love this picture, and I found it years ago. Does anybody know who this gentleman is on the right? Does anybody bass fish in your club?
Dancer.
Yeah, it's Bill Dance right there. That's the beautiful part of this fishery, guys.
I love this
picture. It's in the South, so it's a little different than coming to Colorado or going to Montana. I mean, you meet some wonderful people, and believe it or not, the lodge that I'm going to show you that we rent out for 3 months of the winter. He stays and fishes with one of the most famous bait and spin fishing guides on the Arkansas River.
Believe it or not,
what a neat guy. And I just love that picture because, he was probably with Craner,
he stays and
throwing spin rods, but, he enjoys catching big rainbows himself. But it's just pretty neat, that this is a very good success story that they've done stocking some of these fish, and being that they're tailwaters, enjoys catching big rainbows. You can go middle of February and you can see this guy here on the left. This is John. It was a little chilly that day, so we do get some chilly days, but nothing like fish we do here in Colorado, where I grew up in Michigan. And the neat thing, guys, February, you can see this guy here. If you do come with us, stay at our lodge. The North Fork is where you're going to want to wade fish. Now, a few years back when we had the low flows at 700 CFS, the neat thing, guys, we mouse fished, starting at night, come with us, from stay at our lodge, 8 o'clock or maybe even 6 o'clock till 3 in the morning. And as long as you guys can stand up. I mean, I have nothing going on out there. My family's not out there. I'm there to fish. So when we night fish, we'll fish you guys until you 8 o'clock or maybe even 6 o'clock, you fall asleep on the boat. The neat thing is you come in around 3 or 4, stand up. On that low flow, take a nice nap to 12, 1 o'clock, then show you on the map how to get over to the North Fork and wade fish the North. The neat thing is, so you do have that access to wade fish, not just throw you guys on a boat, but you do have some other great opportunities this time of year. As you can see on the left, it's a very crystal clear river can see
Okay,
the
so
snow
you
there,
do have that
in
access
February. So when we were out there wade fishing and
not just
sight
throw you
fishing,
guys on
and
a boat.
that fish
But
that
you-
I'm
you know, you
holding
do
on the
have some
right
other
there is a
great
beautiful
opportunities
cutthroat.
this time of year. As you can see
So,
on the
and
left,
the neat
you know, it's
thing
a very
also with
crystal clear river.
the
You can
North
see the
Fork.
snow
Now
there,
let's,
you know,
if we
in
do get
February.
someone
So
that
when we were out
just
there
doesn't
wade
want to
fishing
throw
and sight
streamers, maybe
fishing,
not
and
3 days
that
in a
fish
row,
that I'm
wants to
holding
do
on
it
the right there is a
maybe a
beautiful
day and a
cutthroat.
half, take a break and
So
try to get one of
the
those
neat
big
thing
dogs.
also with
The neat thing, if you do nymph,
the North Fork,
you can
now
catch a
let's
lot of these
if you
cookie
do get
cutters,
someone
16
that
to
just doesn't want
20
to throw
inches,
streamers, maybe
on
not 3
girdle
days in a row,
bugs,
wants to do it
sow
maybe a
bugs, and all
day and a
that stuff.
half,
That
take a break,
kind of the
and try to
North
get one
Fork
of
is
those big
famous for
dogs.
its sow bugs.
You know,
They
the
have
neat
a
thing, if you do
very
nymph,
popular
you
event
can
called the
catch a
sow
lot of
bug
these cookie
roundup.
cutters,
Some of you
16 to
guys have probably heard about
20
that.
inches, on
So
girdle
you
bugs,
do have the opportunity
sow
to
bugs, and all
catch
that
some
stuff.
nice
That
fish
kind
without
of the
beating your
North
arm
Fork
off
is
all day.
famous
But
for its sow bugs. So
once
we have
you
a
get one
very
fall of a
popular event
25 to
called the sow
28 inch
bug
brown,
roundup. Some
it's
of you
pretty
guys
hard
have
to
probably heard about
cut you
that.
guys back in the
So
nymphing. But
you do
we
have
sure
the
do have it. I
opportunity
do have
to
groups that
catch
come
some
out and
nice
fish with
fish
us
without beating your arm
5
off
days,
all
and
day.
it
But
can get rough throwing
once you
streamers
get
5
one
days in a
fall
row.
of a
And
25 to
they will
28
come
inch
out and we'll
brown,
nymph a little bit.
it's pretty hard to
One second,
cut you
I'm going a
guys
little ahead
back
of
in the
myself
nymphing.
here, guys.
We sure do
So,
have
like
it.
I said,
do have
right
groups
here,
that
we
come
can
out
nymph
fish
fish,
with
and
us
there is dry fly
5
fishing,
days, and
even
it
in the
can
middle
get
of
rough
winter.
throwing streamers
Now,
5 days in a row.
it's
And they
funny
they will
because it's
come out and we'll
hard.
nymph a little
You
bit.
guys see
One second,
12 to
I'm going a
15
little
inch
ahead of myself here, guys.
fish eating nymphs.
So,
Excuse
like
me,
I said,
midges.
right here,
Any
we can nymph
tailwater
fish, and there is dry
from the
fly
frying
fishing,
pan to
even
the
in the middle
San
of
Juan
winter.
and
Now,
South Platte, where we have
it's
3 other
funny
fly
because it's
shops,
hard.
you're
You
always,
guys
because those
see
tailwaters
12 to
stay the
15
same
inch
cold temperature year round.
fish
You're
eating
always
nymphs,
going to have
excuse me,
midges. So
midges.
there are
Any
always
tailwater
fish
from the
rising
frying pan to the
on these
San Juan
tailwaters, and that's
and
including the North
South
Fork
Platte, where
and the
we have
White River.
3 other fly
And
shops.
it's just
You're
funny
always,
because there's
because
so
those
many
tailwaters stay the
big
same
fish
cold
as we saw,
temperature
world
year-round.
record type
Always going to
fish.
have midges. So
You're going to
there
play
are
around with some of
always
these
fish
12, 14
rising
inch fish, which are
on these
beautiful fish
tailwaters,
on
and
a
that's including the
on a
North
little
Fork and the
midge
White
dry
River.
or something. But then
And it's just
you're
funny
going to
because
hear the
there's
guy
so
down the
many
river yelling
big
because he just
fish as we
moved a
saw world record type
25 inch
fish.
fish. But we do have those
you're gonna play around with
opportunities
some of
all
these
winter
12,
long.
14 inch fish, which
Because
are
it's a
beautiful fish
tailwater. It's
on
got great
on a
midges
little
and great
midge
scud.
dry or
Now,
something.
you heard
But
me
then,
earlier talk
you're
about the
gonna hear the
shad
guy
kill. This
down
is
the
one of
river
the
yelling because
neatest
he just moved a
things that
25 inch
that
fish.
happen
But
on the
we
White
do have
River.
those opportunities.
As you can
all
see,
winter
this
long.
happy client on the
because
left.
it's
This
a
is right
tailwater. It's
before I
got
left
great
last
midges
year.
and great
Last
scud.
year was
Now,
a
you heard
little
me
warmer
earlier talk
winter.
about the
Then we
shad
got a
kill.
little
This is one of
cold
the
spell
neatest
right at the last week of
things
March
that
before I
that
left.
happen on the White
So, like I
River.
told you earlier, guys, when
See
we get
this
that
happy client
cold
on the
weather
left. This
coming
is
in,
right before
so
I
you
left
get the
last year.
different thermals in
Last
that
year
Bull
was
Shoals
a little
Lake,
warmer
which is
winter.
Table Rock,
Then
Bull
we got a
Shoals
little
Reservoir.
cold spell right
Okay,
at the
coming
last week
out,
of
you
March
get that
before I left.
thermal that
So like I
kills the
told you
shad,
earlier, guys,
and
when
all
we
these
get that
shad break
cold
up and
weather
come
coming
through the
in,
turbines.
so you get the
I've
different
never seen
thermals in
anything
that
like
Bull
it. If
Shoals
you guys have
Lake, which is
saltwater
Table
fish
Rock,
for
Bull Shoals
stripers,
Reservoir.
that's the only
Okay,
way I
coming
can
out,
tell
you
you
get that
that it
thermal that
relates.
kills
You
the
will
shad,
literally see
and all these
seagulls
shad break up
coming
and come
down. Let
through
me
the
click you
turbines.
over here.
I've
Coming down,
never seen anything like
whoops,
it. If you guys are
along
saltwater fish
on
for
the water,
stripers,
picking
you know,
off the
that's
dead
the only
shad.
way
You
I
see this
can tell
shad,
you that
guys, and this
it
brown
relates.
trout's mouth
You
right
will
here.
literally see
So that's
seagulls
what makes
coming down
that wintertime so much nice,
coming
because you're
down
getting that
you know,
cold weather
along
killing
on
those
the water,
shad
picking off
above
the
in the
dead
lake.
shad.
You know, you don't
this
see that in the
shad,
summer
guys,
because
in
it's
this
too
brown
warm.
trout's mouth right
And it's
So
amazing
that's what
fishery when
makes
that shad
that wintertime
hatch
so
comes
much
off.
nice,
I mean,
because you're getting
it
that
makes
cold,
a beginner
cold weather
fisherman look
killing
like
those
he's been
shad
fishing 20
above
to
in the
20 to
lake.
30
You
years,
don't
and
see that in the
you're
summer
moving
'cause
these
it's too
big
warm.
fish like you see here on
And
the right.
it's amazing.
We actually
fishery when
use
that
floating shad
hatch
patterns.
comes off. I
You
mean,
know, if you look up
makes
floating shad, White
beginner
River, you'll
fishermen
see
look
floating
like you've been
shad. So what
fishing
I'll
20
do
to 20 to 30
when
years,
I
and you're
start
moving
seeing
these
the
big
fish
like you see
moving,
around the
or
right.
you look for birds.
We
You see
actually
those
use
birds picking
floating
off stuff
shad
on the
patterns.
river right here on the
If
right.
you look up,
You know,
floating
beneath the
shad,
dam,
White
there's
River,
a
you'll
shad
see
kill going
floating
on.
shad.
You
So what
motor
I'll
on
do
over there,
when
every fish in the river is going to be eating off the
fish
surface.
moving, or
And then
look
as
for
it
birds.
tapers down, you see less shad, but they're still around.
on the river right
I'll
here on the
use
right.
a floating shad as my indicator.
There's a
You know,
shad.
then we'll put a little nymph on the eye, maybe some kind of midge or whatever.
Every fish in the
And
river is going to be eating off.
It's almost like a hopper dropper,
And
like we
then
do out
as it
west here,
tapers
you know,
down, you
in
see less
Montana,
shad, but they're
Colorado,
still
Idaho,
around.
etc.
I'll use
So you put that shad as
my
your
indicator.
floating pattern,
You know,
and
then we'll put a
you know,
little
this
nymph
fish
on
here,
the eye,
guys,
maybe some kind of midge
no
or whatever.
joke. It's
And,
on.
it's almost like
Kelly's
a hopper
website.
dropper,
This is
like
a
we do out west.
client of ours
In
caught that
Montana,
left fish,
Colorado,
the left,
Idaho, etc.
excuse me, left
So you
slide
put
right
that
here.
shad
Caught
as your
that on a floating
pattern,
shad.
and,
So
this
you
fish
have
here,
some great
guys,
opportunities
no
because I
joke,
mean you
it's
don't
on
see
the
this in Montana,
Kelly's
Colorado.
website. This
You
is
know, it just doesn't
client of
happen. I
ours
mean,
caught
we
that
get some
left
very
fish,
big
the
fish
left-
on dry
excuse
flies,
me,
but
left slide
that's
right
not
here.
should have
caught that
blown
on
that
a
picture
floating
up. That's,
shad.
you know, a
So
26,
you have some
27
great
inch fish
opportunities
in
because,
bright sun
you don't
eating
see
a
this
shad
in
pattern
Montana,
off the top.
Colorado.
And then
it just
with the
doesn't happen.
rainbows, I mean, you'll catch
get some
numbers
very
of
big
them.
fish on dry
You know,
flies.
so,
That's
and it's
not the-
nice because
should
if
have
this
blown that
happens when
picture
you're
up. That's,
here, you know, you can
26,
put down
27
the
inch fish
200 to
in
300
bright
grain
sun
sinking
eating a
lines
shad pattern
and
off the
kind of
top.
just rest
then
that arm and
rainbows,
flop
I
out
mean,
a
you'll catch numbers
floating
of 'em.
shad or
You
do
know,
a dry
so-
dropper with
and
it.
it's
You know, a
nice
floating
because if this
shad
happens when
and a
you're
nymph
here,
beneath it.
you know,
But
you can
you
put
can
down
get your
the
numbers,
200 to
guys.
300 grain sinking
You know,
lines
I don't
and
want you
kinda
guys to
just
think you come
rest
out and we
that arm
gotta
and
sit there and
flop
streamer
out a
fish the whole time.
floating shad or do
I
a
tell
dry
you,
dropper
if you
with
do
you
it
know, a
hard
floating
for those
shad
3
and a-
days,
and a nymph beneath
your
it. But
rewards
you can
probably
get
going to
your
come
numbers,
out. Now,
guys.
it is fishing.
You
You know, you could have all things lined up against you, but it's probably one of the most consistent fisheries
I tell you,
in our
if you do
country
it hard
for
for
big
those 3
fish.
days,
You know,
your
and that's
rewards
what makes it so
probably gonna
unique,
come
and
out.
it made it
Now,
unique
it is
for me
fishing.
where I could,
you know, you could
kind of
have
extend
all
my
things
season
lined up
because we get
against you,
slow
but
here.
it's
From the
probably
1st
one
of
of the most
November, we're
consistent fisheries
pretty slow. I
in
do a
our
little bit of
country for big fish.
guided hunting trips,
You
but
know,
then I,
and
you know,
that-
kind
that's
of
what makes
trying to
it so
transition
unique,
and keep the
it made it
season
unique
going.
for
And
me where
this has been
kind of
pretty
extend my
successful
season
with
because we get
you know,
slow
coming
here
out
in
and
the 1st of
chasing these big
November.
fish. And
We're
the
pretty
neat thing
slow. I
is,
do a
we,
little
you
bit
know,
of
me and a
guided
buddy
hunting
of
trips,
mine
but
that
then
set
I,
this up
kind of trying to
have,
transition and keep the
excuse me,
season going, and
found some
this
pretty
has
cool
been
places.
pretty
You know, and
successful.
we found a
with,
neat
coming
place
out
that
and
we rent
chasing
out
these
for
big
3
fish.
months.
And
That's right
the
on the
neat
river,
thing is,
6 miles beneath the dam with
me
its
and a
own
buddy
private
of
boat
mine that set this
launch.
up,
You know, holds up to
excuse me,
12 people, and it's got some
found some pretty
beautiful
cool
views, and
places.
in front of it are
we
some
found a
wonderful
neat
fish.
place that we
You can
rent
see
out
Mark
for
there
3
holding
months.
the
That's right
brown.
on
So
the river.
this
6
is set
miles
up
beneath
so
the dam with
nice
its own
for
private
the
boat
groups.
land.
As you can see, you have a top level
Holds up to
that
12
has
people.
3 to 4 beds
And
in
it's got
it.
some
Middle
beautiful
level, 3 to
views,
4
and
beds.
in front of it
The
are some
bottom
wonderful
level,
fish.
you know,
So you can see
3 to
Mark
4
there
beds.
holding
You
the
could
brown.
sleep
So
more in there if
this
you
is
wanted.
set
and
up so
brought
nice
cots, but
for
there's
the
enough
groups.
beds
As
for
you can
12
see, you
people.
have a top level
And the river is
that
right in
has
front of
3
it.
to 4
You
beds
know,
in
so
it.
what
Middle
we'll do
level,
is
3 to
park our
4
boats
beds.
right by the
The
lodge
bottom
every day.
level,
And some of the guides
3 to
are,
4
you know,
beds.
will
You
want
could sleep
to
more in there
trailer
if
the
you
boat
wanted, and
somewhere, or maybe go to
brought
the North
cots. But
Fork,
there's enough
go
beds for 12
someplace
people.
different. But the neat
And
thing
the
is, you're
river
right
is right
there.
in front of it.
You know, so if you get
So
done
what
doing
we'll
a
do
float
is
trip
park our boats
and you
right
want
by
to
the
go hit
lodge
that
every day,
evening
and
or go
some of the
mousing,
guides
you know,
are, we'll
you can
want to
see how low the
trailer
water
the
is.
boat
That's the
somewhere, maybe
grass
go to the North
right
Fork,
here on the left,
go
and
someplace
there's the
different.
lodge.
But
So
the
you
neat thing
could
is, you're right there.
do an 8
You
to
know, so
10
if you
hour
get done
float, then
doing a
go
float
nymph
trip
right in front
and
of
you want
it,
to go
right to
hit that
dark, and
evening
bring
and
out the
go
mouse and
mousing,
see if you can bring up
you
one
can
of these
see how
big
low the
predators.
water
So
is. That's the
here's some of the
grass
views that we
right here
have
on
right
the
here.
left, and there's the lodge.
Right there,
So you
that's the
could
very top level.
do an 8
And
to
we
10
do
hour
get
float, then
this
go
year. We had
nymph
3
right in
groups
front
that
of
were
it, right to
exactly
dark,
12.
and bring out the
Which
mouse
for
and
us, it's
see
a
if you can
lot
bring
of
up one
fun,
of these big
you know,
predators.
because
So
here's
you know,
some
like
of the
I said,
views
we're
that we have
stuck
right here.
there.
We have nothing to do,
Right there,
so
that's
we
the very top
cook you
level.
breakfast,
And
lunch,
we
and
do
dinner.
get
You know, we're
this
up
year. We
early
had
and
3 groups that
we're
were
doing a
exactly
morning trip.
12.
We're up at 6,
for
getting
us,
bacon and
it's
eggs
a lot
going
of
and making a
fun,
big
you know,
feast for up to
because
12
you know,
people.
like
And
I said, we're
lunchtime,
stuck
you know,
there.
we're
We have
smoking up a
nothing to
pork
do,
butt
so
or
we
making some
cook you
chicken
breakfast,
sandwiches
lunch,
and
and
giving you
dinner.
a
You know,
nice
we're
lunch.
up
In the
early
evening,
and
we're making
we're doing a morning
some
trip.
pretty
We're up
tasty
at
stuff.
6, getting
So
bacon and eggs
we
going and making a
enjoy
big
that part
feast
of it.
for up
One,
to 12
because it's
people. Then
Arkansas. This isn't
lunchtime,
like
you know, we're smoking
Tom
up a
when you
pork
came to
butt or
Colorado and you
making some
got
chicken
Maroon
sandwiches and
Bells
giving you a
next to you,
nice
and you got
lunch
the
in the
restaurants
evening.
in
We're making
Aspen
some
and
Glenwood
pretty tasty
Springs. You
stuff.
know,
So
we
it's a beautiful
enjoy
place,
that
but
part
you
of
know,
it.
there's
One,
2 or 3
Arkansas.
restaurants
This
that are
isn't like
just
Tom, when
okay
you
in
came to
Cotter, Arkansas.
Colorado and you
So
got
Well, what
we
about
Bells
the
next to you, and you got the
transportation
restaurants
too
in
there? I mean,
Aspen
can
and
you
yeah,
fly?
I'm
Glenwood
gonna hit on
Springs.
that.
You know,
That's
it's
on
a
that's
beautiful
on my
place,
last
but
slide
you
here,
know,
big dog.
2 or 3
I'm gonna tell you you guys were to fly into
just
and stuff
okay
like
in
that.
Cotter,
So
Arkansas.
Cool.
so what we
We
do
the,
here, it's
the
actually coming up
transportation
the
too
next
there. I
slide
mean,
right
can
here.
you
So
populate
you know,
that
it's just
drive?
neat. You can see we love the groups.
Big
You know, some of these guys you can see we've been these are from the Ann Arbor Trout Unlimited. Like I told you, the guy I team up with is a phenomenal guy in Michigan. So the Ann Arbor TU guys have been fishing with us since we started this. And
You know, some of these
you
guys,
know, and they don't want to throw streamers.
These are
They were here for 4 days.
Unlimited.
You know,
Like
this
I told you, the
neatest
guy I
guys,
team
they
up
threw
with is
streamers 2 days, and we nymmed in
phenomenal guy
between the
in
last
Michigan.
2
So
days.
the Ann Arbor
Then we
TU
kind of
guys
have the
fishing
young
with us
crazy
since we
guys that
started
want to
this.
throw streamers
You know,
nonstop,
and
8
they
hours,
don't wanna
8 to
throw
10 hours,
streamers.
3 or
They
4
were here
days
for
in a
4
row.
days.
So
You know,
we can
this
accommodate
neatest
it all.
guys, they threw
Now,
streamers
the
2 days, and
last
we
slide
nymmed in
here,
between
Tom,
the
you
last
you
2
were
days.
asking where we fly
Then
into.
we kind of
The
have the
closest
young,
airport
crazy
is
guys that
actually
wanna
in
throw
Springfield,
streamers nonstop, 8
Branson. You
hours,
guys
8
have
to
heard of
10
Branson.
hours, 3 or 4
They say
days in a row.
Branson's
So
like the
we
cheesy
can
Las Vegas,
accommodate it
right?
all.
Now, Dolly Parton has her own acts and stuff. Well, that's actually the airport. It's a 2.5 hour
is
drive.
actually in Springfield.
It's far.
Branson,
I've
you guys
flown
have
in
heard
there
of
a
Bran-
bunch.
They say
Now you can
Branson's
either rent
like
a
the
car,
cheesy Las
and
Vegas,
we
right?
will do packages.
Dolly Parton has her own acts and
It's a
stuff.
cheap
Well, that's actually
package,
the
guys. For
airport. It's a
4
2.5
nights and 3
hour
days
drive.
of fishing. You're looking at
It's
$1,500
far. I've
bucks, and
flown
that's
in there a
breakfast,
bunch.
lunch,
Now you can either
and dinner.
rent a car.
Now, if you don't
and
want to
we
rent a
will do
car, we
packages,
could come pick
the
you up. I mean, I have no
it's a
problem
cheap
with that. We
package,
just have to
guys, for
kind of
4
time it right.
nights in 3 days.
I mean,
of
most of the
fishing, you're
guys I
looking
have
at
picked up a
$1,500
few people
and
that
that's
renting a
breakfast,
car.
lunch.
It's an actual. It's
Now,
a
if
small
you don't
airport, but
wanna
a lot
rent a
of people
car,
fly
we
in there.
could come pick you
Branson's
up. I mean, I have no
a
problem
pretty
with that.
big
We just have
tourist
to
destination in
kinda
the
time
summer.
it right.
When we go
I mean,
out
most
there,
of the
that
guys I had
airport's
picked up
pretty
a few
slow, and the
people that
prices
car,
are pretty
it's-
cheap. Because
in
not many
actual- it's a
people are
small
flying in
airport,
there.
but a lot of people
End
fly
of
in there.
January, February,
Branson's
to all the way to the end of
pretty
March.
big tourist destination
Now
in
we
the summer.
do have
And we
some
go out
people
there,
that
the
fly into
airport's
Little
pretty
Rock.
slow, and the
I think we get
prices
some
are
of my
pretty
New York
cheap,
clients, and
'cause not
there's
many
some
people
direct
fly in
flights
there,
into
end
Little
of
Rock.
January,
and,
February, to all the way to
some
the
people are
end.
funny about that. They don't want
Now,
to
we
have a
do
layover. Little
have
Rock's a
some
little
people
further.
that
It's about
fly
4
into Little
hours.
Rock.
To
I
me,
think,
if you have
we get
one
some of my New
layover,
York clients,
and your
there's some
layover will
direct
probably be in
flights
Denver, I
into
would bet
Little
you.
Rock, and,
2.5
some people are
hour
funny
drive
about
is
that.
not a
They
big
don't
deal.
wanna
It's
have
actually,
a layover.
you
Little
look at
Rock's
a
little
map,
further,
it's actually the
about 4
mileage
hours.
isn't
To
that
me,
far.
if you have one
there's a
layover,
2-lane
your
road.
layover will
And
probably
if you ever
in
been to the
Denver, I would
Ozarks,
bet you.
it's incredible. I mean, it's not the
2.5
Rocky Mountains
hour
that I'm
drive is not a big
looking out
deal.
my
It's
window
actually,
at
you
right
look
now,
at a
but it's
map, it's
different. I
actually
mean,
the
it's green,
mileage
it's
isn't
beautiful,
that
and
far.
there's not a
There's
lot of
2-lane
people. Now, it's
road,
interesting when you
and if
go
you ever
along
been
the
to the
river.
Ozarks,
There's
it's
some
incredible.
big,
I mean, it's
beautiful
not the Rocky
homes.
Mountains
This
that I'm
isn't like
looking out my window
the scene of
at right
Deliverance
now,
or
but
something.
it's
There's
different. I mean,
there's
it's
people
green,
out
it's
here,
beautiful.
but a lot
I
of
mean,
it's summertime.
there's not a lot
a lot
of
of
people. Now,
Dallas.
it's
money.
interesting
a
when
lot
you
of people
go
from
along the
Texas
river,
come up
there's
in
some
the summer.
big, beautiful
Winter, you'll see all
homes.
these big,
This
beautiful
isn't like,
homes when we catch these
the
big
scene
fish.
of Deliverance or
No
something.
one's around there.
There's
So
people out here.
it's
A lot of
funny.
that,
You would
it's
think there'd be
summertime.
better
A lot of
restaurants.
Dallas money.
Like I said, there's a few, but the meals are
come up in the
phenomenal.
summer.
I mean, we do a
Winter, you'll
do a
see all
good
these
job.
big,
You can
beautiful
see
homes
here. I
when
mean,
we
we're
catch these big
make sure
fish.
if you don't have
no one's
any
around
gluten
there.
or any food allergies that
it's funny.
we
you
get a
think there'd
list
be
and you
better
can see all the
restaurants.
bourbon and
Like I
stuff
said, there's a few
that we have fun
the
with.
meals are
So,
phenomenal. I mean,
we enjoy
do a
it.
good
And,
job. You can
there's
see here. I mean,
plenty of
we're
opportunities
sure if you don't have
besides
any gluten or
just
any
coming
food
out.
allergies
It's
that
funny because
we
we
get a
do
list
push
and
the
you can
streamers,
see all the
and
bourbon
not everybody likes doing
that
streamers.
we
I
have
mean, I
fun
love
with,
it.
so,
You can get
we
some of these
enjoy
big
it,
fish.
and,
The
there's
22s,
plenty of
24s in the middle of
opportunities
winter.
besides
Girdle bugs and nymphs.
just coming out.
You want to
it's
come
funny
out, like I
'cause
said
we do
earlier in the
push the
slideshow,
streamers,
guys.
and not everybody
and
likes doing
dedicate
streamers.
3
I mean,
days.
I love it.
Most of
you
it to
can
streamer
get some of
fishing.
these big fish.
You're going to
the
move those
22s,
25 to
24s
30
in the
inch
middle of
fish.
winter.
So not
girdle
always going to
bugs and
catch that
nymphs,
30 incher, but
you
you
want to
will
come
move
out,
them.
like I said
You're
earlier,
going to
in the
get those
slideshow,
20 inch
guys,
fish. When I
and
first
dedicate
started
3
staying out
days,
there and I got to know
most
some,
of it
because
to
we have to
streamer
use some of the
fishing,
local guys.
you're going to move those
when
25
we're
to
out
30
there,
inch fish. So
and they love
not
us
always
because we're
going to
bringing
catch
visitors.
that 30 incher.
Now we were catching 22 inch
you're gonna
fish
get those
with some of these
20-inch
guys. Like,
fish. When
oh,
I
that's not a big
first
deal. And
started
I'm like,
staying out
where
there
I
and
grew
got
up
to
and
know
came
some-
from,
we
a
have to use some
22
of
inch
the local
brown's
guides
a nice
when
fish.
we're-
So
when we're out
their
there.
point making is,
And they love us 'cause we're
it's
bringing
not
business.
uncommon every
Now we
float
were
to move
catching
those 25,
22-inch fish.
the
with some of these
26
guys.
and
Like,
up
oh, that's
fish.
not a
And
big
that's
deal.
why I've
I'm
kind
like,
of
where I grew
done
up
this
and
little
came from a 22-inch brown's a nice
it's
fish.
getting
So their point making is,
time
it's not uncommon
approaching,
every
and we've
float
done
to
2
move
other
those
talks. And I'm
25.
like, kind of fun to talk to you guys about something different. And during the COVID, it's just nice to
26
talk
and
about
up
fishing.
fish.
So
that's why
I appreciate guys, and
done
any
this little
questions about
niche,
Arkansas and
it's getting
Colorado.
bigger,
I hope
going out there
Bill's
in the
on this
winter.
chat right now, or anybody
Tom
coming
approached me
fishing with us, Tom, and June in a couple weeks.
Be kind of fun to
great
talk to you
opportunity to
guys
ask
about
about what
something
flies we're going to tie. You guys
during
want
the
to tie
COVID,
or
it's
bring
just
up?
nice
So
to
go ahead and ask
talk,
questions, guys, about
so
Colorado or
I
whatever
appreciate
relates to
guys
fishing. fishing, I'm
any
more than happy to
questions about
answer.
Arkansas and Colorado, I hope Bill's
So
on
in
this
Can you
chat
guys-
right now, or anybody
You
coming
troll.
fishing with us.
No,
Tom and
no,
Jim
there's no-
in a couple weeks.
I mean,
to
you're
take
always casting.
great
There's no
opportunity to ask
trolling.
about what
I mean,
flies we're
so
gonna tie.
yeah, I mean, it's like fishing any river.
Go ahead and ask
I mean,
questions,
we're not.
guys, about
We're
Colorado
when you guys are
or
fishing,
whatever
we're in-
relates to fishing.
like
I'm more than
I
happy
bring
to
my
answer.
drift boat and attach a motor. The only reason I do that is because if we move 2 or 3 fish, I mean, this is a big river. If we move, it's like the size of the Missouri River in Montana at its biggest point. Okay.
Yeah.
So the only reason we bring the motor, let's say you move 2 or 3 big fish
when you
off of
guys
a
are fishing,
seam or off of a shoal.
Like
Heck, I want to fly back up there and hit it again.
The only reason I
because
do
it was,
that,
and then
because
another reason it's so big,
I mean, this is a big river.
slower. It's so big. It seems like it's the Colorado River here, or the Roaring Fork.
So the only reason we bring the motor,
with me,
let's say you
that's a fast river, but at its peak, it's only at 10, 11,000. I'm telling you, we're out here, guys. I fished it last year at 28,000. But it's so big and massive. You can hit those banks and still feel like you're going slow. So it's nice to have that motor, to motor back up our. We want to go back up to the lodge and bring you in for lunch because it's raining. We can go have a hot lunch. But it's the same style of drift boat fishing that. But if you guys are familiar with doing drift boats, same style. So absolutely no trolling. All casting your butt off until you can't cast anymore, guys.
To motor back up our. We want to go back up to the lodge and bring you in for lunch because
you sure can. Oh yeah, I mean it's set up great. I mean Tom's been on it. The neat thing with the frying pan, going from one extreme to the other, from the you can walk across most parts of the frying pan.
Your butt off
now,
until you can't
obviously use your judgment. You're not going to go walk where there's a little bit of white water. But yeah, it's a one. We actually have one of our guides that kind of specializes in using the Tenkara on the frying pan.
With the frying pan, going from one extreme to the other, from the you can walk across most parts of the frying pan.
No worries, guys.
Obviously use your judgment.
I'm still getting used to this stuff too. So,
white water.
But any questions? Like I said, I appreciate the time that you all gave me.
Do you fly into Denver or drive into Denver to get to where you're at?
Tom can answer. You can. It makes it cheaper, but you can fly into Aspen or Grand Junction too. Tom, you can handle that one. Any questions? Like I said, I appreciate the time that you all gave me.
Is where it is. It's Basalt,
fly
Colorado.
into Denver or drive into
It's
Denver
about an 8.5 hour one way, but it's all I-15
Tom can answer.
70
You can.
basic,
It makes it
90%
cheaper,
of it.
but you can fly into Aspen or Grand
It's
Junction
an easy
too.
drive.
It's very
Tom, you
easy.
can handle that
Very
one.
easy.
It's on the west. It's on the you're on the west side of Denver then.
Oh,
Basalt
I'm on the western
is where it
slope.
is.
I
It's
stay away
Basalt,
from that city.
Colorado. It's about an 8.5 hour one way. I-15 70
Denver.
basically.
Okay, because my
90%.
cousin lives
So-
pretty north of
It's an
Denver,
easy drive.
and I'm gonna go visit him
Very
at the
easy.
end of the summer. So maybe I'll come stop.
It's weird because normally when I've done my talks there, you can hand out
I'm on the
cards and
western
literature.
slope. I
So
stay away from that.
I didn't know how to. I put my number up there. I didn't know how to handle that.
Well,
cousin-
Tom,
I have some of the other literature, but I don't know if the prices have changed
go
on it
visit
from
him.
the.
They
Probably
change,
in the
but
summer, so maybe
we figure it as
stop
long
in.
as they have a
Cool.
contact point. You know what I mean?
It's weird
Sure.
because normally when I've done
that's
my
the.
talks there, you
I
can
kind of
hand
like
out
doing these talks
cards
because
and
it's less
literature,
travel,
so,
but you
I
guys
didn't
live in
know
a
how to
place
hand-
where
I
it's
put
fun
my
to come
number
do a
up there.
talk.
I
So,
didn't know how to handle that.
Tom.
Well, it's not that fun right now.
I'm sure you guys are irritated.
They
and
change,
ready
but
to.
we've
We're getting on the coast. We've actually been. I was telling Tom. I mean, they opened up our shop April 27th, and we've been. I went out of town this weekend with my family for our anniversary, and that's the only 2 to 3. I missed 3 days. My wife would kill me if I worked on my anniversary. We've been working every day. People have been fired up, especially guys from Denver.
They opened up
Coming
our
up
shop
because
April
we have
27th,
cabins
and
that
we've been-
Tom's staying at,
I
bringing
mean,
his
I
buddies
went
up,
out
and
of
he's
town this weekend
been
with
to
my family
before.
for our
and,
anniversary.
we've been
That's the
busy, but
only
we've been taking our
2
precautions.
2 to 3. I missed 3 days.
We don't
My
want to
wife
make
would
it
kill me.
worse if we
I worked on
can.
my
So,
anniversary.
but for the most part, I
we've
mean,
been working
even
every
I've done
day. I mean, people
a float
been
last
fired up,
week, and we had 2
especially
guys from on the
Denver,
boat.
coming up because
we kind of
have
quiz the
cabins
people
that
and make
Tom's
sure
staying
they
at,
haven't
bringing
done
his
anything
buddies
too
up, and he's
stupid. But
been to
we're
before.
open
we've
and
been
ready to
busy,
make
but
money.
We've been taking our precautions.
Well,
we
in
don't want to
Arkansas,
make it worse
Cameron,
if
what
we
weight
can.
rods do
So,
you guys fish?
but
Those
for the
are
most part,
huge
I mean,
fish.
if you're
done a
gonna bring, so I don't know how
float
many of streamers
last
fish. I
week,
mean,
and
you're
we
gonna
had
be
2
running
guys,
anywhere from a 250 to a 300
we
string
kind of
grain.
quiz the people.
That's an 8 or 9 weight. And a lot of, if you're coming out
we're
and fishing
open and
because
ready
with
to
these
make money.
packages deals, me and Kelly and the other
Well, in
guys we meet
Arkansas,
always have
Cameron,
stream
what weight
rods. Not
rods do
everybody
you
has an
fish?
8-weight
So if
or a 300 grain or a 200 grain sinking line. You know, if you're going to come out and you're going to do some of the nymphing, 6 weights is because you nymph and tie into one of those big dogs. You want to have the right size rod for that, Tom.
Me and Kelly and the other guys,
and I do. I mean, last year, like I said, we had some good midge hatches. We'd throw streamers until the afternoon and take a little break with that Ann Arbor TU guys that were all 70 to 80 years old. And then we just go head hunting for, nice 12 to 15 inch rainbows and
rod for that
a few brown ones on top. So,
and I
if you
do,
can breed them all, but this is so set up because a lot of it is boat fishing time. It's set up as that package because it's a big river.
Take a little break with
that
Ann Arbor.
You could just show up and all of our guides are
80 years old, and then we just go ahead
through Winston. All of us have Winston rods, and we try to have good quality stuff for you guys on the boat. You don't have to travel with it. Especially if you're jumping on a couple airplanes.
A lot of it is boat fishing, Tom.
It's set up as that package because it's a big river.
Did Bill show up, Tom?
You could just show up.
Jim,
and all of our guides are.
Talked to you earlier that he's waving right now.
All of us have Winston
Jim
rods.
He's try one of the fellas going with us.
Good quality stuff for you guys.
Well, so when just to hit on the bugs while we got the time,
especially if you're jumping on a couple airplanes. And Tom, you can repeat it to those guys too. I mean, our flows, we don't have a huge run.
Did Bill show up?
It's not nothing scary like when you came out 2018. It's actually good. So on the frying pan, you're going to have PMDs will probably just be starting, but you'll have blue wing olives, and it always midges. I mean, we got. When I've spoke to you in that club before, I mean, we don't have a huge. You can find rising fish on that river 365 days a year.
2008.
So tell the guys to bring all their midge patterns. You said you guys fished the pooter, or not the pooter.
PMDs will probably
what's
just
the one in Utah? I know you guys because you guys talked about that when I was there in last.
We got
severe.
When I've spoke to you in that club before, I mean, we have.
So you're used to
bring your blue wing because it's still early summer. But the point, the guys to bring all their midge patterns. You said when you guys come out, we'd like to, and Tom did it with me. We'd like to do the evening float where we could start at 1 and go to 10 o'clock. And Tom will remember when we did that in June 2 years ago. We had all the drakes, the caddis, and PMDs all coming off the last 2 to 3 hours.
It was phenomenal.
Like I was telling Tom,
I ate a few bucks too.
We'd like to, and Tom did it with me. We'd like to do the evening float.
And that's going to happen again, Tom. I can't see why it won't unless we get some kind of crazy monsoon. But
June 2 years
I think it's going to
I bought something to stop that. I got a net, fixed my hat and everything.
The last 2 to 3 hours. Well, but so Tom, you got me. I'm happy to get. I know some of the guys aren't on this webinar. If you want to give those guys my email too, the other guys, and they have questions, please do, and I'm happy to help them out.
Absolutely. Everybody has my email. So, because I'm on the site there. So just any questions, anything you need, just let me know. I'll get it out to you as fast as I can and help out. So.
And Tom, a buddy of mine asked, if you're looking for more of these webinars, my buddy owns his own. He's a captain out here, and he specializes in Stillwater stuff. And we fished this weekend for our anniversary. We went camping and fished with his wife, and boy, he's got some really cool Stillwater stuff out here in Colorado. Now, I just figured I'd mention it to you if you're going to keep doing some of these throughout the summer, or if we have to keep doing this in the fall. Just to mention it to you guys, if you don't mind, I'll have Matt's info.
That's up to Matt. Matt's booking all that stuff.
He's got some really cool
Stillwater stuff. I would think it'd be great. What the hell?
I just figured I'd mention it to you. I wish we were out there
the summer.
This would be more fun to be sitting there
just to mention it to you
than going to have a martini after or something.
I'll have Matt's info.
That's up to Matt. Matt's booking all that stuff.
Any more questions, guys?
Absolutely. I would think it'd be great. What the hell?
All right, man. I can't thank you enough. And looking forward to seeing you guys out here in June. And Matt, I'll send my buddy your info, and you guys can chat.
Going to have a
see what happens
after. Or
something. That sounds good. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us about
God. Any more questions? This is the funnest evening I've had at home in a while, so we're good. I appreciate it.
Can't thank you.
Don't tell my wife that.
And looking forward to seeing you guys out here in June. And Matt, I'll send
All
my
right,
buddy your
guys.
She's
info
not in the
and
back
guys
here
can
hitting
chat
you over the head.
see
I
what
met your
happens.
wife.
She's in the other room. You've met her. She's a good woman.
Talk to us
Oh
about
God. All
This is
right,
the funnest evening
guys.
I've
I'm
had
gonna
at home in a
go eat some
while, so we're
dinner.
good. I appreciate it.